Good
How's
evening.
everybody doing?
Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evenings,
evening,
good days,
day,
good mornings, good afternoons.
Good morning, good life.
Good
I
day.
just feel.
Disco ballish, rainbowish.
You see that? Look at that.
Ooh.
Look at that.
You just want to touch yourself. You
Touch
just want
it.
to touch. Get it. Get into that skin,
Look
Pedro.
at it, honey. Feel it.
Get into it, honey. Yeah.
What's the matter, Pedro?
Are you
going through some sort of a psychological change in your life? Are you going back to being a man?
Come on, disco ball. How y'all doing, kids?
How y'all doing? How's everyone doing today?
I feel like we need to name your shirt now.
It's Pedro.
Okay. That is so funny because today has been the day of Pedro. It's one of our participants today. So funny. Random person in the program. They've been together for 9 months, mind you. Mm-hmm. He looks at this one guy and was like, and Pedro and such, and he was like, the guy said, I don't know who Pedro, but he's like, I don't know who the fuck Pedro is, but my name is Isaac. Bitch. So then I was like, vote for Pedro! Pedro for president! Anyway, Pedro's coming strong. I don't know where he's at, but listen, this is where we are today. So today is Wednesday, February 6th, 2019.
I know, right? This seems like just, I hate to be one of those people, it seems like just yesterday it was a new year. And we are already a month into this, girl.
1 month in, thank you.
Mm-hmm. We are 1/12 of the way through 2019. And
yes.
it has been foolishness.
Oh my God.
And fuckery.
Like, already. Like, it seems like it ended on that note and then it started on that note. So I don't know what the hell.
That's why if we move the show earlier, then we can eat afterwards.
Oh, so wait a minute now. What? That's what we got going on? That's how y'all doing it before we get here?
No. I'm just saying,
I was like, now wait a minute.
Because
afterwards
even the Wendy's don't have nothing but the drive-thru open. Because my new obsession. My new obsession is that $5 big junior bacon giant junior bacon cheeseburger combo. First of all,
I am here for any $5
Wendy's
combination.
got the best nuggets.
Now,
And
okay.
that giant junior bacon cheeseburger is delicious.
I'm not
Their
gonna.
fries, Rally's still.
I actually like
Checkers
Wendy's
still,
fries.
I mean, they're all right, but Checkers still got the best fries, though.
I'm gonna disagree on that one.
What?
Yeah, I'm gonna disagree. I would actually
They are
say
seasoned
I
and
would
all
actually
crispy.
say Roy Rogers had the best fries.
Yeah, but I'm talking
and
about
there
what we
is
get
one.
now.
There is a Roy Rogers on 301. I actually
I was gonna say I don't live all the way out in the country
Okay.
past the end of the world.
Listen, I don't either. I just happened to see it the other day. But again, but I do like Wendy's fries because they have the little couple of skins on it and they have the sea salt. So when they're hot and you ask them to actually put salt on it.
You know who actually got the
works.
best fries? Have you ever been to Station 4 in Waterside Metro Station? Mm-mm. They had these fries that they fry them in duck fat.
You were telling me about this before?
Yes, the duck fat fries. Listen, and then they serve them, with chopped garlic on top and sea salt and pepper. Let me tell you, we gotta go.
I was gonna say, when is that?
Because they used to have happy hour where you could get like $5 appetizers. You could get some duck fat fries and some wings and some.
See that $5. See, listen, Subway, y'all did whoever y'all marketing.
Yeah,
team
they
was,
didn't even do those $5 footlongs anymore.
I know, but the whole idea of anything $5 and $5 footlong makes me think of
Yes.
I love a $5 deal. So listen, Subway, thank y'all for that. But this duck fat, so I'm gonna need to go
duck fat
experience
fries.
it.
Yeah, we gotta make that work.
So this weekend maybe.
Yes, we could. But the happy hours and the thing, but we can still get them.
I just want to
get them
fries.
anytime. So
I
like
just
we
wanna
can
get
go
the
like
fries.
Sunday because I get a haircut appointment at 11.
Okay, I just
and
wanna
then
get the
after the haircut we can have brunch
On Sunday? He's on Sunday. He's on Sunday.
Yeah, he's on Sunday. Because since I'm going, so that's why. So just for a note, a programming note. We will not be airing next week because by the time the show is airing, I will be in Fort Lauderdale. I have a lovely. Well, I don't check into the house until Thursday, but let me tell you how don't be mad, don't be jealous. Let me tell you. So flights were a grip. And I had just been looking, and flights. Because what I really wanted to do was leave like Thursday afternoon, but those flights were like $500 and $600 and shit.
That's a bit much.
So by leaving Wednesday afternoon, I save about $200, and since I got a ton of points on various hotels, I could just stay in a hotel for a night for free, and I will end up spending $200. I'll spend a little less than save a little less than $200 because it'll be a rental car for an extra day. But still, I'll still end up saving a grip and a half.
That's approximately $200 worth of foolishness.
Yes. Or I am going to do my best, because this is not a...
Listen, America.
This is a trip for relaxation. So all of my things are going to fit into one small check, because I'm flying Southwest.
America.
One small check bag.
I want y'all to rewind this next week. Matter of fact, the next show, please rewind this.
I'm going to take a picture of my luggage. It's going to be one small bag to check and one carry-on that is essentially just going to hold my CPAP machine, because the CPAP machine always flies with me. Always. I don't like your tone. Your tone seems very pointed.
Listen, I'm going to go ahead and do this for one of our brothers, Iron Sparks. That's French. So this language that you are talking...
I will be traveling light, because this is not a heavy BDSM kink.
America.
I mean, I might bring a vest, but I'm not bringing a bunch of leather. I'm not bringing a ton of boots. I'm not bringing a ton of toys and floggers and all of that. So
America. That's all I'm saying.
Anyway, I said what I had to say.
That's all I'm saying.
So how was your week?
My week was good. So far it's been, it is a crime, an absolute crime. And matter of fact, listen, I need to call 911 and somebody's HR office. It makes absolutely no sense to have to be to work at 7 a.m. I think that is ridiculous. Listen.
Does the world even start at 7 a.m.? I was not even aware that happened.
And on top of that, that means I got to get my ass up at 5:30.
Oh, we know you already have a problem getting to places on time.
I can't.
America. Facts are facts.
But let's be clear. Let's be clear what I'm not late for: a flight, a movie, and a concert. Everything else is up for grabs.
A movie,
but a flight, a movie, and a concert.
Well,
because I likes the previews.
Okay, all right, I'll let you slide on that.
So those things you can take that to.
But you're sometimes late for the show.
Well, the show doesn't. The show technically was supposed to start at 9:15.
You don't show up at 9:14 and 50 seconds for the show.
I roll in, hook my mic up, and turn my TV on, and let's go. We good. So I am on time. But anyway, the week has been, so I've been having one of these crazy weeks. And last night when I was watching the State of the Union address, and we'll talk about that in a second, at like 10:30, I'm doing the grandpa thing. I was like,
yeah, because you got to be up at the butt crack of dawn.
Listen, I couldn't even get myself together. There was a little drool hanging out on the side. Listen, but wait. I got to say this. So, I'm wearing my glasses now. I told y'all before I got these glasses and I'm never wearing them. I went down to.
Now you can see shit, huh?
It's nice, right. I was coming back home last night in the rain, and so one of my issues is depth perception. Like when I see lights up in front and they get the little sparkle lights and all that type of stuff. I put the glasses on and I was like, "This is amazing! What? Like I can see stuff. What?" I wasn't putting the brakes on like 15 times. Amazing. So I'm trying to do a more conscious job of putting my glasses on, and I was at work today too. Our teams are doing their presentation at work, and so they had these PowerPoints up and they had words on them, and I'm in the back like,
put your damn glasses on, you can see what's happening.
Meanwhile, it's a 195-point print, but it's just blurry to me, and I'm just like, anyway. But so yeah, that's where we are, and so far the week's been good. But that 7 a.m. start is just driving me crazy.
Yes.
But other than that, it's been good. I got one more tomorrow and Friday, and then I can get that thing together and get back to bed and go to sleep and all that good stuff. Went to my doctor. My doctor told me some news, and we tried to get all that together. But I'm gonna talk about this Kaiser experience in a minute. But
okay,
that was my.
Oh, is that one of the things?
That is definitely one of my things that I'm going to be talking about.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Woohoo! I'm ready for it.
Tell us about how was your week?
So let's start with the trial. So I alluded to the fact that I got picked for jury duty. Now, I knew I was going to get it. This is not necessarily technically how the system works, but I knew that they were going to get me because I skipped jury duty last year. And I don't mean I just, opted out. I just skipped it. I was like,
let's say illegal?
Technically, but like it was supposed to be like January 15th. And then I was like, well, February the 1st. I was like, what? I'm supposed to go to jury duty? And then I found a thing and it did pass. And so when I went this year, I was like, I know they're going to get my ass. I know they're going to get my ass. And then, so, they were like, well, what are your feelings about the police? And I was like, they're all right. I'm not really a huge fan of the police. And, so anyway, so I get picked for this trial. So the trial, here's the basis of the trial. This dude assaulted a police officer.
Okay.
So here's the background. The police get a call.
Wait a minute, are we supposed to be talking about all this?
Oh, the trial is done. They say,
you
can say whatever you want now.
Okay, all right.
So and I'm not gonna mention names. So, the police get a call from a bus driver there's a dude carrying a gun, out and whatever. So the Metro Police show up at this at the scene at this carryout in a place that rhymes with Balabama Bavenue.
Oh, Jesus.
So they are looking for a dude with a red hoodie. So they get there, and there's like a bunch of people standing around. Everyone flees the scene except for a couple of people, and they have an encounter. Now, the defendant is looking a little crazy, like a little off. Like coming down from a high, like he is
crackhead, basically.
Yes,
crackhead is on the end of a bench. Right. Okay, I got you.
And so
just had to frame
the state calls their first witness, who is the police officer who got assaulted. They open the door, and I'm expecting you're a police officer. Did you ever see the movie? Do you know who Fievel is?
I know who Fievel is. Yeah.
That's what this police officer looked like, a light-skinned Fievel. 5'8", all of 120 pounds. And he is he's a police officer. He gets up on the stage with this scared mouse look. And I'm just like, okay. And then so the whole point of this thing is that, so he tells dude to turn around and, do all this, and the dude doesn't comply. And then it all hinges on this phrase, let's get these motherfuckers, Mo. And I, not living in the hood, had never heard anyone say Mo in that way. Now, there were a few other Negro. Most of the jury was white. Okay. But there was me, moron Negro, me, this moron black guy, older, mid-50s black mama who's always cold, and young 30-ish, kind of sister soldier type. Okay. And a bunch of white guys, white people, period. Okay. And none of the black people had ever heard that term Mo before. So I was like, I feel like they're making that up. But I've since heard that apparently that's very common in the hood for people to say Mo. I had never. Joe, I heard Joe all the time growing up, but I never heard Mo. But then again, I don't hang around those kind of places. And those kind of places, I don't want to sound too elitist. But I just don't necessarily hang around with people who
America.
Anyway, so dude says, let's get these motherfuckers, Mo. And he apparently charges the dude. and pulls out a knife. And he's like, remember Crocodile Dundee? He's like, that's not a knife.
This
is a knife. And so the state's the state's evidence first exhibit is this fucking Ginsu knife. Literally, the Ginsu knife that's like this long. You know, it slices, it dices, it chops, it cuts. And he pulls out. So the dude apparently had it in his waistband. And so he is holding the knife like this at Fievel. So Fievel feels threatened. So Fievel's partner, because dude has a gun, but he hadn't gone through the training, so they hadn't issued Fievel a taser yet. So
I don't know what the regulations are, what the process is, but you come at me with a knife, I'm going to shoot your ass.
Well,
that's just me.
First of all, he was like this close to him, so he didn't have time to pull a gun.
Oh, okay.
Now his partner, who was behind him, tased the old boy, but the taser didn't do it. This is what I said. He was probably on something.
Yeah.
Because the taser didn't do anything to him. Well, no, it caused him to drop the knife. So it at least caused him to drop the knife. Then they tased him a second time, but the taser got on his clothes instead of on his body. So eventually they get him on the ground, and they literally, so now it's like 3 police officers who literally admitted to, they said, oh, we took out the baton to subdue him. So they admitted to beating this dude.
Okay.
Now, I mean, you take out the baton to subdue somebody. I mean, by definition, you're beating them. And, there was no counterclaim, of police brutality or anything. But anyway, so it all comes down to, so then the subsequent cops that come out, and it's funny how they all had their story perfectly together, from the get these motherfuckers mo. And it's so funny to hear the little white prosecutors like, and Officer Jones was so scared. He was scared for his life. And then you hear this man say, let's get these motherfuckers, Mo. And I'm just sitting there like...
How long has Officer Fievel been on the force?
3 years.
Okay.
But it's the Metro Police. These aren't D.C. police officers.
This
is Metro police officers.
Okay. Well, rhymes with Metro. Schmetro.
It's Schmetro police. The Schmetro police officers.
Right. Okay.
And so then when we go back to deliberate, I'm just assuming that it was going to be the 4 black people against all these white people who were like, let's convict his ass. But to my surprise, everybody was like, I don't really know if I believe the police. Like everybody, like all 12 jurors were like, And like, so the charges were, of course, assault with a deadly weapon for this. Okay. But then they found like another little knife that he had in his pocket later. And they tried to get him for assault on that. And we was like, nah, not guilty for that. I mean, you just having a knife on you, you can't prove that he had any intent to use it. And we felt like some of the charges were piling on. So we did find him guilty on most of the counts. But I was refreshingly surprised at how open to the fact that everybody thought that, the police story was bullshit. Okay. And also, there was no red jacket. Ultimately, there was no red jacket. It was raining and a bunch of other stuff. And it was really a fucked up situation because if dude had just done what he was told, which was...
Put it down.
Turn around, put your hands on the wall. They probably would have frisked him, probably would have found a knife, but it's not a crime in and of it. I mean, it might
Especially
be like a minor thing, but you might have gone to jail for 24 hours, whatever, but they would have released him without whatever. If he had just done that, then there wouldn't be anything because it was a complete case of mistaken identity. There was no gun. There was nobody in a red jacket. I mean, not that he didn't have a gun. There was no gun on the scene. So it was a complete case of mistaken identity and everything, and none of this would have happened if he had just done what he was supposed to do. And that's not one of those, well, if you just complied with the officers, you wouldn't get beat down. No, this is different than that because they wouldn't have had any reason to engage with him because there were other people on the scene who complied, who were belligerent, because they had them on tape. One of the witnesses for the defense actually was caught on tape saying, hell no, I had nothing. But if I did have a gun, I'd shoot you motherfuckers. And they let him go on the scene.
Okay.
Remember, this is Schmetro police officers, not
right.
DC police officers.
Okay.
They'd have been like, go to jail.
Clink, clink. Like, oh, damn.
Right, you should have just shut the fuck up.
Like, shut the fuck up, bitch.
Right. So clearly they weren't looking to escalate despite, the people being rah-rah about it. Mm-hmm. So I was just like, ugh. And everybody felt bad for him, but it was like, well, you did. I mean, you pulled this 12-inch knife on the dude.
12 inches of
Yeah.
death. That's not going to work.
Anyway, so Sunday, I had my second float at this place called Hope Floats in Bethesda.
Okay.
And this one, instead of the float and then a massage, this one had 30 minutes of infrared sauna and then the massage. Let me tell you. I mean, I'm fine with sitting alone, but I don't really just like hot rooms like that. So just sitting there for 30 minutes.
In a sauna?
Yeah. But it wasn't a steam sauna. It
No,
was
I
the
like-
dry infrared sauna.
No, I like a sauna. Like, give me the steam. I don't like the.
And it was one of those individual saunas, so it wasn't like a sauna room.
Yeah, well, I guess it would be a steam room. I like a steam room. I don't like
Yeah.
saunas. But
And then, I know you do. I've heard that about you.
guilty.
So, the sauna was all right, but the point of it is that you're supposed to go in and it opens up your pores by being in there for that long.
Hey, Crystal.
And then so we did that. I did that, and then I did the float. And this float was, I think their equipment is older,
Okay.
and so it just felt a little different. I still enjoyed it, but it was still a little different. And for whatever reason, I was a little sore afterwards. Something about holding my arms out. I just feel like I wasn't. I felt like with the other one. I did float in it, but in the other one, like my arms, I just sort of let them go and they did whatever. This one, I felt like I kind of had to keep my arms up, so I was a little bit sore. Okay. I'm gonna go back though, because I'm just giving it another try. Okay. But I'm also gonna try the one in DC.
Okay.
Last thing, so we're having a big conference at the beginning of March, and I said I'm the one sort of riding herd over everything making the conference happen. And then so I said at work that I'm going to be there with my riding boots and a riding crop, keeping everybody in line. And one of the majors said, you had me at riding crop. And I was like, listen. And this dude is like, this dude is like this tall. And I know exactly. He's 5'7" and 140 pounds because that somehow came up in conversation on one of our other trips. He wasn't talking to me specifically. So I was like, you saying that to the wrong person. I haven't had any.
It's cute. It's cute.
It's cute.
Okay.
Just a cute little white boy, from Tennessee.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Like to sit with his legs crossed and he has some very. Now, he got a wife and a child, but he has some very family. Some of his mannerisms seem very familiar to me. That's all I'll say on that.
Okay.
So, anyway, so what are we going to talk about today?
So, I meant to. Damn it! It just came. Oh, shout out to Renee, Classic Renee. She went to Cracker Barrel.
Yes, I love me some Cracker Barrel, and you didn't tell me, so I could give you some money to get me some chicken and dumplings. So you get the chicken and dumpling dinner with 3 sides of chicken and dumplings.
Listen, I was there for the pecan pancakes
and that hash brown casserole.
I
love that hash brown casserole.
Pancake. So,
and that salty ass ham, you get it, and you take the little bit of the ham
and mix it with the
eggs and the grits and everything.
Anyway, with the pecan pancakes had me. So they were, and all I did was one. I just had one. I had a taste. That was good. It was one. Anyway,
which Cracker Barrel did you go to?
Down in Waldorf.
Oh, I forgot there's one all the way down there.
Yeah, went down near the Waldorf.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, that's I mean, my passport is expired, so I can't go all the way.
This is true because it does feel like that when you ride down there.
Right.
So, okay. So let me just get the boring stuff out the way.
Okay.
So let's talk about the State of the Union. Okay. I never thought that as a kid growing up, I never thought I would be sitting here to watch the State of the Union address. And I'm finding myself within the past 5 to 10 years, really, actually longer than that, about 5 to 10 years,
right,
really paying attention to the State of the Union and for shits and giggles and listening stuff. Just trying to hear the hypocrisy and the lies that are being told.
Right.
And 45 didn't let me down. He just said some old bullshit that came out of his mouth. I was looking at an article today at work on CNN's website, and they talked about these 5 things that I agreed with 210% about, which these are takeaways from 45 speech at the 45 State of the Union address. Now, just in some random orders here, but I'm gonna go in order. So they said he started on a bipartisan note, but the problem came because he started off saying, "Oh, we and us and this and how," and started. Listen, that went out the window real quick.
Oh, of course it did.
He made this statement that said, "We must reject the politics of revenge, resistance, and retribution, and embrace the boundless potential of cooperation, compromise, and the common good." Now,
first of all, we know he didn't write none of that.
Thank you. Number 1. Number 2, in less than 5 seconds later, this Bama says, if there's going to be peace and legislation, there cannot be war and investigation. It just doesn't work that way. Which, it was really a veiled threat, if you ask me. And I'm sitting there like, you are the president of the fucking United States of America, and your ass is sitting here sending out veiled threats to your damn House and Senate and what? Okay. He felt some type of way about being interrupted by the women, the Democrats, but let's give a shout out to them because, listen.
How do we know he felt some type of way?
Because every time the majority of the women that were, not the majority of the women, the majority of the Democratic women wore white. Not all of them did, but they all wore white in solidarity. They moved as one unit. They stood up, they stood down, they smiled, they frowned, and that was it. All the way through. So I was here for that because they were very much of in your face all night long. Right. Let's give it up for Nancy Pelosi leading the girls.
No.
Because on this day, somebody put this out on Facebook. On this day, I died. But they put out this
Patton Oswalt.
They put out this meme that says, February 5th, 2019, Nancy Pelosi invents the fuck you clap.
That was a fuck you clap.
She was very much like...
Because at first, the bitch wasn't paying attention.
No, she was.
She was, well, okay, but she was reading.
She was reading his speech.
She was, right.
She was reading his speech to see where the lies...
Right. And then at some point, she put it down and she was like... And she looked at her, she was like...
Right. It was almost like Nancy Pelosi got a little ratchet. She was like, "What you gonna do, bitch?" Right. And if Nancy did that, listen, the scream from Upper Marlboro would have been,
yeah! Heard it all the way at the White House or at the Capitol building.
He went on to basically vilify every damn Latino American, Hispanic, Latina. Then at the same time, he turned around and tried to make himself seem warm and personable by having this 11-year-old cancer patient there to talk about how brave she was, to then talk about, then also bring up the veterans from Pearl Harbor, to bring up the veteran from Jewish man who survived the Holocaust. I'm sorry, not the Holocaust, the temple shooting in Pittsburgh. They brought another older gentleman who was a veteran up on, made him stand up as well. And then at the same time, you turned back around and you went and addressed or tried to humanize this, but also support your point of vilifying the Hispanics, the family of a person, I don't know if it was a male or female, that was murdered by a Hispanic person. And you go into this conversation about the wall in the border wall at the south of the border in
Brownsville?
No.
Texas.
And where he said it was the safest city in America.
El Paso?
El Paso.
The safest city in America?
Like,
I don't know about all that.
I'm mixing up the facts.
Yes.
The family was, I don't know where they were from, but my point is he brought that part up to go along with you saying that this wall that needs to be built, because you snuck that in there in this State of the Union speech, that it's going to be built because you want it built. That's what you snuck in there. You snuck this in there to try to give a face to terror and also try to get sympathy by having this family here whose family member was just killed by someone that was Hispanic. Like, you tried to make this connection throughout this whole thing.
Right.
I can't. I just can't with you, 45. I'm not here for you. I can't.
I'm gonna let you have all that outrage because I just can't.
It. I mean, and I sat
and
there.
And then, I kept flipping back and forth to see. It was like, is it done? Is Stacey on? Is Stacey on? Then by like 10:30, it still hadn't happened. So I was like, well, I'll just have to read about it later.
So Stacey,
you didn't care for it? Everyone else said it was good.
It was okay.
Okay.
It was okay.
You weren't moved.
It was
no Michelle Obama.
It was not Michelle Obama. Let me be clear.
It was no Maxine Waters.
It was not Maxine Waters, and also I was sleepy, so I was nodding off in her speech. So I was like,
a tiny bit over it.
Mm-hmm. I was sleeping. So, but listen, I'm glad that she's making a mark, making a splash. She's an up and coming, young congressperson or
well, right now she's
political person, I should say. Yeah, right now. So I'll give her that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, 45. I can't. I can't.
Yes.
But yeah, I just can't with you. I'm gonna leave that alone. I can't. So that's enough about the unfun stuff. And so I'm gonna.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't.
Yeah, I
didn't watch it. It wasn't. And I was never going to.
Yeah. So
I feel no obligation to.
He also mentioned this. This is going to segue into my Kaiser situation. He also mentioned how he wants to, put all this money into HIV and AIDS and finding a cure for HIV and AIDS. Isn't this the same person that laid off the HIV Advisory Council?
Right.
You fired the entire council.
You fired the council. So the cynical part of me, it was like, so what are you going to? You're going to get rid of everything until all of the people with HIV die?
Like,
I mean, what did you know? So I'm sorry if that's triggering to some people, and that is not my intent. But I was like, you're cutting back healthcare resources for LGBT people. Not that LGBT people are the only people contracting HIV or living with it. Right. You're cutting off those resources. You fired the entire council. You're cutting back on health and social services. You are making it harder for people to access
healthcare
in general. So how exactly are we going to end HIV by 2030? And people always had these ambitious goals for shit that's 10 years. Listen, even if he gets reelected a second term, please, Jesus, no.
No.
He'll be out of office no later than 2024, so he won't even be in a position to make any of this happen. And I guarantee you it ain't going to be no funding for none of this.
And listen.
So, I mean, I can say anything.
This clown.
I'm going to be wealthy. I'm going to have $1 million, $100 million in the bank by 2065.
2065, actually, that's 45. Yeah,
we'll be 95 years old.
95 years old. I was going to say my bones might be rotten starting at that particular point, so I don't know. But anyway, yeah, I just.
Anyway, fuck this dude. All right, I'm Kaiser.
But anyway, so Kaiser. So I am a Blue Cross Blue Shield kid. My parents had it growing up when I first got my first job. Every job I've had has been a Blue Cross Blue Shield insurance covered place. Now, whether it was the PPO, the POS, and HMO, whatever, it was always Blue Cross Blue Shield. And so my costs out of pocket.
What's a POS?
Well, yeah, that too at times. My costs out of pocket were not. They weren't outrageous. And so I'm okay with that. And I just felt comfortable because I always felt like most doctors would be affiliated in some way with Blue Cross Blue Shield. And one of the things that I hate about Kaiser, or the idea of Kaiser, was that they are. Now, the idea of being a one-stop shop and getting everything done in that particular building is great.
Yeah.
The problem is some of the doctors that participate in their networks are not the same ones that participate in Blue Cross Blue Shield, or the doctors that are over here, you don't even hear about them because I don't want to say they're not as good, but I just hear nothing about them. I hear nobody raving about a Kaiser doctor and say, this doctor saved my life, this doctor did this doctor did. Now, you can look up all of their stuff on whatever websites to see what they've done and all that good stuff, but none of them move me. And the only reason I'm even talking about Kaiser at this particular point because my job decided to save money, and so they changed our insurance plan
Kaiser is always less expensive than Blue Cross.
They changed our insurance plan to go with Kaiser, and okay. So the problem that I have is I did not want to give up my doctor. I've been going to my doctor for several years. I have this a rapport with her. We are great. I can say, hey, listen, I'm going to have a really nasty weekend, so can you give me a Z-Pack or something? My doctor is cool as, so listen, I don't want to give up my doctor. So the fact that she's not even covered, or she's not a part of this network was an issue for me. But I was like, all right, let me go ahead and try to use this, because they gave us the option of saying, you don't have to leave your doctor. What we'll do is we'll have a different plan that is a Kaiser product, but it's not called Kaiser, and you can go wherever you want to go.
Right.
Great.
Out of network.
Out of network. The problem with that is the moment you go to get a prescription filled, the first thing that somebody says at the pharmacy, if it's not a Kaiser facility, is, this is Kaiser. We don't fill this. It is not. The name of the plan is called Multi-Plan PHCS. Like, that's what it is, and it's not. It can
But can't
be
you
used.
just go get the prescription filled at Kaiser?
The doctor. Well, listen. That means I then have to travel over to that particular Kaiser facility, and I can just go to the CVS down the street from me.
Yes, that is always an issue.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. So, yeah. Anyway, I go to this Kaiser, and then every time I go to Kaiser, every time I walk in the door, which is no different anywhere else, but it's copay. Every time I walk in the door, copay. Okay. But it seems like a one-stop shop. Like, it's just like, cha-ching, cha-ching. Okay. So I had this conversation with the doctor. I was having some issues with this deodorant and stuff. And, I'm thinking it's a rash and all this good stuff. So I saw the doctor. He was telling me what's going on. I was like, okay, great. He gave me some prescriptions and stuff. I was like, all right, fine, great. I said, well, since I'm here, do me a favor. I want to go and run the whole battery of tests. I want to get everything done. He was like walking out the door and literally standing behind the door and was like, oh, yeah, well, I can go ahead and run that for you. All right, bye. And I was like, but like I wasn't really finished. I was trying to have another conversation. So I didn't think he put this information through to go get this test. I then go downstairs to get blood drawn. Now, this is no shade to anybody that does this every single day, but I feel like some of the med techs are not doctors.
No, they aren't doctors by definition.
Right. They're not doctors by definition, and I don't necessarily know if some of them could actually do some of the tasks that these doctors do now. I think that's probably a safe statement for me to make right now.
You said they could or could not? Oh.
Could not.
You mean they're not qualified to do blood draws?
Some of them are,
Some of them look like, LaRonda from around the corner.
And I got LaRonda's cousin, Starkeisha. Starkeisha was at the motherfucking...
Did she have long nails, so I draw your blood like this?
Starkeisha had... Listen.
She hit you with the nail in it.
Listen.
She with it like...
Shout out to all of my phlebotomists and med techs and CMTs and everything, because you got to make a living too, and you do your job, and I'm all here for it. But Starkeisha... I looked at her and I was like, you are very local. She had that hair cut all the way down. It was just down to just a little bit of a brush cut. Like, I probably have more hair than she does if I put a relaxer in it. It's just laid down. So it was like really Toni Braxton-ish, but it was kind of like with no curl, just kind of laid flat. And so I went to the counter and I was like, first of all, I was amazed to try to figure out where the hell the damn thing was. I get downstairs and I'm like, okay, great. So she's standing there and I was like, I need to get some blood drawn. I need to see if the doctor put this information in. She's like, ID and medical card. I was like, oh, sure. I was like, okay. I reach across the counter and I give it to her. Starkeisha's sitting at the counter like this. Now, I done reached across the counter to give this to you, and your hand is back here. And I'm like, well, girl, if you lean forward or even just extend your arm to, like, I've already reached.
Well, maybe she had like a withered hand that she couldn't reach.
She took my information. She gave me back 2 pieces of paper, and she said, you can have a seat. And I said, okay, thank you. I sit down, I'm looking, because they're going to do blood draw. I see the little thing. I'm nosy, because I've been, I'm 47. I've been to the doctor several times. I'm looking, I'm like, oh, you're going to test for this and test for that. I'm like, okay. I'm looking at the little codes. I've seen this stuff before. I'm like, all right, great. I'm like, I'm sitting there for a minute. I'm like, what? And I keep hearing this dinging, and I was like, well, what the? I get up, I then look up and see that there's a counter up at the top, and she gave me a number. And I was like, my number was like 883, they were like 886. So I walked back over to Starkeisha and I was like, there's a counter? She was like, well, yeah, the number's up here. And I was like, you didn't say nothing about a counter. And I was like, they're past my number. She's like, well, you can just go ahead in. I was like,
well, then, bitch, what the fuck is the point of giving
like,
a number then?
what the
if I
hell?
can just walk the fuck in.
Listen, Starkeisha, thank you for making my Kaiser just living up to what my expectations were of Kaiser. You were,
I think you were predisposed to be pissed off.
I was and I am, and I'm not really happy about that. And then on top of that, I had to pay for a motherfucking Uber that cost me $9 to get over there. So I was already in a bad mood. But anyway, that was my Kaiser story. But anyway, I digress.
Well, see, I have, bad veins. So you can be digging around in my arms, forever. So we always do a butterfly.
Okay.
Like right there or right there. And, now that I'm in this prep study, I get blood drawn.
All the time.
Mm-hmm. So when we do it, in the prep study office, it's easy. But when I had to go get regular blood drawn, and they start pulling out all the stuff, I was like, you
get
need
a butterfly.
And they look at me like,
I know exactly what I'm doing. I've been doing. Please let me do my job.
I was like, and so one time I told the girl, I was like, listen, it's not your choice. I'm telling you, I want you to use a butterfly. I have been living in this body my entire life. And I know that you're going to be digging around in my arm, for whatever, and then you're going to decide to do this. And listen, I'm not squeamish about it, but neither do I want you digging around
but a needle in my arm digging
around.
around, you goddamn right I'm being a little squeamish with that. You digging around in my arm.
Use the fucking butterfly. If you don't know how to work the butterfly, then get someone who does. So, what I have learned in those situations is that you have to be your own advocate. Because there was this one time where I went to the doctor and they, I first became a diabetic and they prescribed me this medication. Mm-hmm. And the medication worked, but it made me nauseous.
Okay.
Very nauseous. And I did not clearly say how much it was making me nauseous.
Okay.
And so the doctor doubled the doses because it's like, all right, so you insulin. I had actually started to have vision problems from the diabetes at first. I don't have it anymore,
right?
Because it was a temporary thing. But he was like, all right, so if we want to get this all cleared up, get your numbers down, or whatever. So he did it, and then his ass went on vacation for 2 weeks, which is his right to do. But I got really sick and ended up almost dying from dehydration, and so I learned from that. That the only person that advocates for me. So my new doctor, who I've had for a couple of years, she's tried me on this new injectable. And I tried that shit for like a month and a half, and I tell you, my feet would be tingling, and I was like, and everything. And so when I went to see her, I was like, I stopped taking that shit because I was like, it's
tingling feet. No, that's not good.
Yeah, I was always feeling,
that's like neuropathy
sick.
Type of stuff.
Yeah, it was like neuropathy and like all the time. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, yeah, I'm not taking this anymore. And she was like, oh, okay, well, so you're having some bad side effects. I was like, yeah, and so I'm not taking that anymore. Yeah. So now I stick up for myself when it does. Because, if you don't, because I'm reminded of that commercial, I think it's the woman with irritable bowel syndrome, and then she's talking, and she's like, yeah, well, it's okay, and it's not too bad, and like her little other self is like, no, you should say what's going on. She's like, you know what, actually, it's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
And so that's how I've been like completely honest with my doctor about what's going on.
And I think that's why I love my doctor, because I can have those conversations with her and be very, very candid about everything. Because when we first had that conversation about when we had blood drawn and we was going to be tested for a few things, she was like, is there anything we should worry about? I was like, well,
the list of what we shouldn't be worried about is shorter.
So, yeah. She's like, well, I see your blood work. She said, oh, okay. She said, well, I can see some things that you've been exposed to and some things that you've not been exposed to.
Oh, wow.
And I was like,
Whore.
I said, okay, girl, thank you.
It's like, how dare you? Anyway, all right, so let's talk about Jussie. Let's just listen. I don't really why we. I'm glad more stuff is coming out, and I'm glad all of the people who was talking shit ahead of time are shutting the fuck up.
And that's basically what it is.
Here's my thing. Could he be lying? Yeah, anybody could be lying.
Yeah,
anybody could be lying. But first of all, there's a presumption of innocence, and second, I feel like we owe him and other, particularly LGBT people, the presumption of innocence. Because I look at it like this. A lot of, everybody, there are plenty of people who aren't famous who get attacked all the time.
Right.
And if everyone is doubting, this famous person, people might feel like the same way like women don't feel like anyone will support them when they report. If immediately when someone says they were attacked, it was like, oh, well, what was you doing out that time of night? Or,
and why were you there?
Why were you there? Maybe you was out getting some trade.
You shouldn't have been there by yourself and so forth and so on.
Right. I'm like, that's going to make people feel less, feel more reticent about telling their own stories, because and maybe they were out getting. Maybe they were out going to a 20-person gangbang. It still does not give anyone the right to beat you up on the street. Or maybe they were going to. Why was you going to Subway at 3:00 in the morning? You famous? I was like, girl, he is a co-star on a moderately famous show on Fox. He is not Beyonce. He does not roll with 20 security people or whatever. He is the kind of person that if he needs a Subway sandwich at 3:00 in the morning,
go get a motherfucking Subway sandwich.
Beyonce will be like, I'm hungry. And someone will be like, okay, Beyonce, I'm going to go get it.
Listen.
He is not Beyonce.
And
if he's hungry at 3:00 in the morning, his ass is going to get up and go to the motherfucking Subway or the corner store and get something.
Now, listen, let's be clear. Beyonce shows up at Target for a reason. Because the last couple times she showed up at Target, I was like,
that was a
really?
stunt, though.
That's a stunt. Like that was a. Listen.
Yeah, she's not. Oh, I want to be like every person. No, girl, no,
you're not.
No,
you're not. The last time Michelle Obama showed up at a Target was 8 years. Actually, at this point, 9 years ago.
Right. So
9 years ago.
No.
Anyway.
So the fact that people aren't even giving a chance for the facts to come out. Listen, if he's lying, the facts will come out, and then he will get clowned as he should be.
As he should.
But until the facts come out, just shut the fuck up.
Yeah, that's true.
So, because if not for him, think of the friends in your own life. We all know. And if you don't know, it's because they're afraid to say
that is true.
That, something like that has happened to them and they feel like it's their fault because maybe they were coming back from some date's house and, if they hadn't been coming back from the date's house, they wouldn't have got attacked or some foolishness like that. So, just shut the fuck up.
Yeah. I'm thank you. Thank you.
That's my general rule. If what I have to say is going to hurt another person and they, unless they actually did something. Now, again, if he get called out and he gets caught, then he gets clowned.
That's a whole other story.
That will be clowned. His ass will get clowned. But until then, just shut the fuck up because there's nothing positive that can come from you saying that.
Yeah. Well, in that same note of being clowned.
Okay.
Drag Race
was actually interesting this week.
I was here for it.
Yes.
This is the one of the challenges I look forward to, which is the make someone in your likeness or their family member or make it look like your sister.
Right.
The whole resemblance
makeover. It's difficult because some people are only good at putting makeup on themselves.
Exactly.
And don't have the ability to translate that into something else on other people. And so all right, so we're gonna jump. Well, so who are the people?
Okay, so Manila had her husband Mike.
Yeah, who was a cutie.
Yeah, he's a cutie, and I think he's I want to say he's like Latino
something
or
like that.
something, but it's something going on there, and he's a very cute guy. Mm-hmm. Like he caught my attention. Latrice had her best friend,
yes,
who in her former life was known as Alexis. So this is a former drag queen.
No, she was not a former drag queen. She did drag that one time.
No, 24 years ago.
Oh, so she actually did drag a lot.
Yes.
Oh, okay, but the story he was later was the first time that he saw her though.
Okay, so maybe I missed that part, but I remember because they were friends before she went to jail.
Yeah, right.
And he was a part of the scene that helped him get back. So let me take that back. He named himself Alexis, so he may not have been a former drag queen.
And that was the very first time. This looked like a dude and a truck driver in a wig or whatever. But yeah, so it was Alexis.
And Naomi and her good friend. I don't even know what this guy's like. I don't know what his name was, but it was like, okay, but we'll come back to Naomi in a minute. Mm-hmm. Monet and her very, very white bestie.
He was a cutie though with that red hair though.
When I say he was so red hair pale, like white, like he's been scared for like all his life, just no color. Mm-hmm. But very cute guy. Monique and her poodle bra. Because listen, he had this whole curly top poodle thing going on.
Yes.
But okay, so Trinity also had her hubby, who was actually cute as well too.
He was cute too.
Yeah, he was cute. But
I was
felt
like, you pull that? I was to Trinity. I was like, ooh, Trinity, you overachieved, honey.
Yeah, I was like, okay. And then she was saying something about when they were getting dressed. He was like, well, he's gifted. I got to pull the tape this way, that way, this way. And I was like,
I'm going to need to see that because some people's idea of gifted and my idea of gifted is
Trinity, you got a lot of booty back there, too.
The kids be like, ooh, he was gifted. Yeah, he had a huge dick. He was like 8 inches. I was like, I mean, that's nice, but I mean, that's not huge.
I mean, and it's thin, too.
Okay, but we digress.
Anyway, yeah.
All right.
So anyway, they had to do all these things and make and
I agreed with the bottom two because I thought Manila's look was very basic.
Oh, I agree with Manila.
Manila's look was extremely basic. Okay, so I'll take that back. So Manila's look was very basic, and I think she definitely deserved to be in the bottom two. I was a little more torn on Latrice because I didn't think.
I agree. Latrice didn't. Her and Alexa looked nothing alike. There was no family resemblance.
Okay,
big bitches. That's it. That's all.
Okay.
But the other one that I was torn with was Monet. Monet and her look alike. They did. I didn't see the resemblance.
Yeah, I can't even remember what they look like.
They had the gold outfits on. She had the gold pants on.
Oh, yeah. They didn't really. It was the outfit that made them look alike.
That was it. That's all. But
Monet did look beautiful, though.
That's right.
She
painted
wonderful.
That night. She looked great. That's the best I've seen her look. Her makeup that day was great.
She was giving me Cheryl Lee Ralph.
She gives Cheryl Lee Ralph every damn day. So
yes.
I mean, she just.
But particularly,
yes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Mm-hmm. And then so again, the lip sync for your legacy with the bottom two was. Well, the bottom two wound up being Latrice and Manila, and the lip sync for your legacy was between Naomi, who, shout out to Naomi Smalls, who turned this. When she came out with her lookalike, she did this whole, came out as two women, one with very long hair. She was a woman that was in the 60s.
It was Sonny and Cher, but it was like Cher and Cher.
Right, it was like Cher and Cher. But then when she turned around, spun and took the wig off.
And she had the little short wig on, and she was Sunny.
Little mushroom bob, and she came Sunny. Listen, Naomi, you turned that. That is your legendary moment on Drag Race, just like...
No. Her legendary moment was her lip sync for her legacy, because she turned that song out while Monet just fucking stood there.
Well, that's another moment for me for her, because that look, because I'm talking about as far as her look.
The look, yes.
There are looks that people do that have done
but
that's
her
just everything.
Drag performance...
Yeah,
Naomi's drag performance was... I was just like...
Yeah.
Even if Monet had been giving it,
which she wasn't.
She was literally just standing there. I felt like she was
what? And all this was supposed to be in the theme of Judy Garland, like
right. And so they did this Judy Garland song, and Naomi just turned it out. I mean, she was all over the stage.
Yes.
She was doing acrobatics and sliding on the stage. I love that stage slide thing that she does. I love that she does, and she worked it out.
They did come out with some final runway, with some other final runway looks that were like, whatever. But some of the notable looks for me also were Monique and her BFF, and they did the eyelashes and the eye thing.
Yes, that outfit was good.
The arm had the lashes.
I felt like that should have been like a winner.
It was cute. It was real cute. Mm-hmm. Now there wasn't a whole bunch of but it worked. It was cute. It was cute.
It was to me the resemblance doesn't necessarily have to be all in the makeup and everything. It certainly worked. And it worked even if the resemblance wasn't there. The whole thing was put together so that even if they didn't look exactly alike, the concept was together. Yes.
And that was great. And again, Monique has great ideas, and sometimes her execution is a little off. But because we were talking about her Josephine Baker look,
yes.
But this one was pretty. Was much well put together. Yes. Mm-hmm. So I appreciated that. I think Monique was given a lifeline.
Yes. You say the gag. I don't think it was a gag that Naomi sent Manila home, because Manila chose Latrice to save Latrice.
I'm sorry, Monet, as far as I'm concerned, was given a lifeline, not Monique. Excuse me.
Oh yes, Monet definitely
was
was,
giving a lifeline.
because that should have been.
Her
She
ass
should have
should've went
gone
home,
home too,
so that- let
because
me
she
be clear about
basically
that.
stood there. I mean, I get that it was Judy Garland and you were supposed to be there, but this was not a.
You are a drag performer, bitch. Perform.
Right, you were supposed. It wasn't you. This wasn't. You make me feel like a natural woman where you could stand there and do that.
Listen,
emoting
Latrice shut
kind
that
of
down.
thing.
And
Right.
but anyway.
Right. So yeah, but
yeah.
Naomi sending Manila home. That was expected.
I mean, it was a gag, but it was almost like you knew it was coming because Naomi is like, "Bitch, you're competition, so you got to go." And Manila she was
to me,
leading
this
everything.
whole thing. Listen, this whole thing about where Trinity is like, I'm sending home the weakest link because I want to compete against the best. It's like, no, bitch, this is someone who could take your $100,000. So of course you send home the person who is the strongest competition, because that means the next pool of competition is that much weaker moving forward. I mean, that's a dumb strategy to me.
I think it's admirable, Trinity, for you to do it that way.
Good for you.
Wonderful. Good for you. Good for you. Good for you. But now you sit there.
If you do it, to me, that says you're concerned with what other people think, and you don't want people to feel like your win was illegitimate because you won against someone. None of the women that are left are terrible. So it's like, okay, whatever. But sending Manila home, Manila did the same shit to send whoever it was home with over Latrice, and we all listen. Did. I love Latrice. I love Latrice, but she has consistently been a weaker competitor throughout this. And I think, let's keep it cute, Latrice has never been the best competitor on the shows. Latrice works her ass off.
Yes, she does.
In performances, and when you see her, that's where Latrice's legend comes from. Yeah. Latrice's legend doesn't come from being the best competitor. It comes from being the best drag performer, and everyone that sees her is slayed by her, so they translate that, and she's personable.
Yeah, she's very
and so
personable.
They translate that, but she's just not been serving that,
and I think
on the show.
I think when if they ever did a Drag Race plus size or Drag Race plus, she definitely could compete, although I think there's some other big girls that would actually slay her as well. Because, again, I'm going to go ahead. You have Darian Lake. You also have Ginger Minge, who I love. And you also have, she was one of the Heathers. She's on the tip of my tongue with blonde hair. She does Rue's makeup now. It was.
Roxy does?
No, not Roxy. She wore a T-shirt. Where they had to wear a bathing suit one time. She wore a T-shirt that covered her up, and it was a body on the bathing suit. I can't think of her name. It'll come to me. But anyway. So there's a couple of big girls, but she's one of the competitors. But I think that she wouldn't necessarily even on the plus. But.
All right, so is that it? Or you want to talk about?
I hate you, Bank of America. It's taken me
to get her accounts transferred.
It has taken me a week to send in. A week for them to find a fax that I sent over to them, or an email rather. So they can put it into their account so I can actually have a conversation about stuff. I absolutely hate you, Bank of America.
Yeah, I don't fuck with Bank of America.
I just can't fuck with you.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Well, all right. The BGK8 show streams live on Wednesdays on www.voxwave.com. Currently from 9:15 to 10:15 p.m. Eastern and 6:15 to 7:15 p.m. Pacific. But we will probably be moving time slots, and you'll see an announcement about that soon. Same day, just earlier time slot.
Yep. Get up a little bit earlier so we can go to bed early.
So episodes are available on YouTube every Friday. Search for Vox Power 373 and look for the BGK8 show with Dominion and Epic. You can also catch us on SoundCloud and iTunes. Just look for Vox Power 373 and look for the BGK8 show with Dominion and Epic. We do still have space for a live audience, and we would love to have you here.
And call in.
Call in 240-719-2560.
Call in, please.
So
we go off the air now, or we're going to go off the air.
It's too late for now.
Call in
now. You get to click.
You get to click. That's where you got to go.
So, Epic, how can the kids get in contact with you?
So, you can get in touch with me at I Have Funky Glasses. No. You can get in touch with me on Facebook at looking for Epic Onyx. You can also reach me on Instagram at I Am Epic Onyx, and also on Twitter at Epic Onyx 1. And Dominion, how can they reach you?
BeastlyBurlyBlackBitch.com. Not yet, but soon.
Come through. BBBB.
You're right.
4B.
B quad. Anyway, 4B. B times 4.
Be quad. Okay, quad
B.
B.
Quad B. Yes. Anyway, so you can reach me at Dom Onyx on Twitter and Instagram, on Facebook at facebook.com/Dom Onyx, and my website, which is www.domonyx.com. So we want to thank you all for coming out.
And just so we know, we didn't do this earlier, but we just want to give you, as we close out the show, we want to give you what BGKH actually stands for.
So the B is for the blacks. The G is for the gays. The K is for the kinky people. This is your asshole. This is your asshole. See, you put the fist into the asshole, and then it stretch the asshole. And then if you do it right, the asshole come out of the asshole and come on the outside, and that's called a prolapse.
And then when you get finished, you can go to Bella Noche's.
And then the Bella Noche, and you show everybody your asshole.
I mean, it's Bella Noche's.
And speaking of assholes, the H is for all of the humans.
Thank you all for tuning in. Have a good night.
Bye. The asshole.